Okay, so we have covered the polity section. Now we are going to cover the IR section. And in IR section, first news is related to Nepal. So recently elections were organized in Nepal, and the new Prime Minister of Nepal is Balin Shah. He is from RSP. What is this RSP? That is Rashtriya Swatantra Party. Now, please understand one thing. As far as UPSC is concerned, UPSC usually have a habit of asking questions related to our neighboring countries. So, what is happening in, let's say, in Myanmar, in Bangladesh, in Nepal, in Sri Lanka, you need to know from political perspective, like who is the Prime Minister and what is the political party. These are very basic things. As a aspiring bureaucrat, you need to know this. Okay. Now, as far as India and Nepal are concerned, we have a shared border of 1751 kilometers, and 5 Indian states share the border boundary with Nepal. Apart from that, there are integrated checkposts. What is meaning of integrated checkpost? In a very simple sense, integrated checkpost simply means they are the checkpost for the movement of goods as well as for the movement of people. So in a very simple sense, they are the point of transaction between India and Nepal in this case. And what was the first ICP? So the first ICP, that is integrated checkpost, that was set up at Birganj. So this was Nepal's first ever ICP, and other ICP are Biratnagar, Nepalganj, and Bhairava. So just have a look at these important ICP. So a match the following type of question can be asked from this. Now, India and Nepal have a friendship treaty, that is India-Nepal Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1950. Understand, there are a lot of rivers which are basically common between India and Nepal, and for that there are water sharing agreement. One such river is Gandak river. Now recently Nepal is pushing for its renegotiation. Nepal is saying that we are receiving less water, and therefore they want to review this entire agreement of water sharing for the Gandak river. Apart from that, there are few other projects, for example railway connectivity project, defense cooperation. For example, Gorkha regiment is there in the Indian army. However, because of this Agniveer scheme, now Nepal is saying that our soldiers will not get the equivalent benefit. Why so? Because Agniveer scheme is for a short duration only. So that's why they are not happy with this entire thing. Another issue is related to border. So basically, this is regarding the Treaty of Sugoi, which was signed in 1816. Now, Nepal claims certain areas. However, as per the historic records, these areas are under control of India. So that's why there is a dispute. We have already covered it in our previous months that this is regarding the interpretation of the starting point of the Kali River. Next topic is related to Indian Ocean region. So basically the 9th Indian Ocean Conference that was organized, and that's why it was in news. Now understand, as far as Indian Ocean is concerned, there are two important doctrine. One is SAGAR and one is MAHASAGAR. So these are two important doctrine from exam perspective. So this Indian Ocean Conference was started in 2016 by the India Foundation with 30 countries, and this time it was organized in Mauritius. The theme was collective stewardship for the Indian Ocean governance. So the main focus was on SAGAR. What is SAGAR? Security and growth for all in the region. So that is the main focus of this entire doctrine. There's one more doctrine, that is MAHASAGAR. So MAHASAGAR basically have a much wider perspective as far as Indian Ocean is concerned. It is talking about mutual and holistic growth. Now, as far as the Indian Ocean is concerned, there are two major issues. One is related to the choke points, which we have seen in case of, let's say, Strait of Hormuz or Strait of Malacca. Another issue is related to militarization. So that simply means deployment of military in the island. So one issue is vulnerability of critical choke points. Okay, and the second is militarization. So for example, USA have its military base in Diego Garcia, which is a foreign territory of UK, and UK has given it on lease to USA. Now let's have a look at the geographical location of these places. Please understand one simple thing. Whenever you are reading anything, try to find out its location. That way it will have much better attention. However, for the sake of understanding as well as to make sure that it is quite convenient for you, I have tried to add these maps in the PDF itself. That's why this time the PDF number of pages in the PDF are quite high this time. Usually it is around 30 to 40, but this time it is higher because I have tried to add a lot of screenshot, newspaper screenshot, a lot of images to make it more reader friendly. Okay, so let's have a look at the important locations. So one is this Gwadar port. It is part of CPEC. What is CPEC? China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Understand, let me give you a very basic understanding of all these issues. This is Strait of Malacca, and this is important choke point for China. That simply means if this is blocked, China will face huge problem. That's why to use it strategically, India is developing its infrastructure in Great Nicobar. That is basically Great Nicobar project. Okay. Now, China understands this vulnerability, and that's why they are trying to build alternative routes. One such alternative route is the CPEC. What is the CPEC? It is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. As a part of that CPEC, China is working with Pakistan on this Gwadar port. To counter this, we are working with Iran, and that is basically referred as a Chabahar port in Iran. Okay, so two important ports are there. Apart from that, China is trying to encircle India, and that is basically referred as a string of pearls strategy. One such part is this Hambantota. This is harbor in Sri Lanka, which is basically given to China on lease. So this is given to China on lease. Apart from that, this is Diego Garcia. We have already discussed that technically it is a territory of UK, which has been given to USA on lease, and USA has set up its military base in this. Apart from that, this is Keeling Island. So basically this is the territory of Australia. Again, it is a base for deployment of military. This is Reunion Island. This is French overseas territory, which is being used for military purpose. And another is Mayotte, which is again French island. And this is Madagascar. So again, a very simple straightforward question can be asked regarding the location, these important locations. Apart from that, few other important locations are there. This is Suez Canal, this is Mediterranean Sea, and this is Gulf of Aden. And this is Bab-el-Mandeb. Now what is happening? This is Yemen. The problem is that in Yemen there are Houthi rebels which are backed by Iran. Especially we refer it as axis of resistance. So what is happening is that this area is not so secure. In terms of transportation, it is not so secure, and that's why what is happening is that the insurance cost has increased, and that's why the transportation cost has also increased. So that is important point. Now India, since we claim to be net security provider, so India tried to provide humanitarian assistance to the neighboring countries. As a part of that, India provided assistance to Sri Lanka under Operation Sagar Bandhu, and Sri Lanka was actually affected by the cyclone Ditwa. So two important facts can be asked. A, what was the name of the cyclone? That was Ditwa. And what was the name of operation which was conducted by India to provide humanitarian assistance? So that was Sagar Bandhu. Now the another challenge in Indian Ocean is related to the gray zone warfare. What is gray zone? It is neither black nor it is white. In a very simple sense, it is neither peaceful nor there is a direct confrontation. So it is a kind of Cold War type of situation where no clear-cut peace is there, no clear-cut direct confrontation is there. What is ASEAN? So ASEAN is a association of South Asian countries. Okay. That is Association of Southeast Asian Countries. Now, understand, recently Timor became the 11th member of ASEAN. The membership of Timor was opposed by Indonesia, so they had a kind of hostility between them, and Timor became independent in 2002 after the conflict with Indonesian occupation. Okay, now from exam perspective, this one agreement is quite important. That is a Digital Economy Framework Agreement. So what is the objective? As the name suggests, it is related to digital economy. Two important things. Examiner can set a trap that it is related to EU or some other regional grouping. Secondly, please remember it is a binding agreement. So examiner can set another trap that it is non-binding. Usually usually the international agreements are non-binding, but always remember there are certain exceptions. This is one such exception. So in this case, you need to remember that it is world's first region-wide binding treaty. Now, apart from that, there is one more initiative which is related to ASEAN. So ASEAN plus 3 more countries, that is China, South Korea, and Japan. This is basically referred as ASEAN plus 3. So they had this Chiang Mai initiative. So this initiative is for currency swap agreement. What is this currency swap agreement? Swap basically means exchange. So currency exchange program. So whenever any particular country need foreign reserve, that is US dollar, so they can get it exchanged using this initiative. Even India have such a bilateral agreement with different countries. Now understand, ASEAN plus 5. So plus 3 basically refers to China, South Korea, and Japan. If we will add 2 more countries, that is New Zealand and Australia, then it is going to be ASEAN plus 5. And these 15 countries have RCEP. What is RCEP? Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. It is important to note that India was initially a part of the negotiations for RCEP. However, we decided not to join it. Independently, we have signed agreement with New Zealand recently, but as far as RCEP is concerned, India is not a part of it. Next is Reciprocal Exchange of Logistic Support Pact. The name itself is self-explanatory. Reciprocal basically means they are going to provide us support and we are going to provide support to them. So it is between India and Russia. So we are going to provide support to the military of each other. This way we will have better access towards Arctic Circle. On the other hand, we are going to provide support to Russia. Now it is important to note that recently one aircraft or a fighter jet of UK was in news, and it was actually F-35B. So why I am connecting these two events? See, with UK we do not have this level of agreement. So what was happening was that the fighter jet of UK was facing some problem. So initially UK was hesitant to land it in India. Why? Because India does not have its own 5th gen fighter jet. So they were kind of worried, what if we steal their technology? Usually this kind of things happen, and that's why it is important. So that's why UK showed its hesitancy in the initial stage. It is important to note that we don't have 5th gen. As of now, we have Rafale, which is 4.5 gen. We are working on our 5th gen fighter jet, and for that we are going to get engine from GE. What is GE? General Electric, which is a company of USA. That is AMCA. This is going to be our 5th gen fighter jet. In the next stage, we are going to co-produce this engine. So 2 important things are there. India is working on its AMCA, that is our 5th gen fighter jet. For that, we are getting engine from GE, and in the next stage we are going to co-produce it with the group of France, that is Safran Group. What about the 5th gen fighter jet of other countries? For example, J-20 is from China, F-35 is from USA, again F-22 is also from USA, SU, that is Su-57 is from Russia. Next is related to United Nations Development Partnership Fund. So basically, India played a key role in this entire fund. This was set up in 2017. Why it was in news recently? Because of the review. Now, what is the basic intention behind this initiative? The basic objective is to promote the South-South cooperation. What is the South-South? So basically, there is a Brent line. This is a line. The countries above this line are global north, and countries below are global south. Usually these are developed countries, usually these are developing countries. So we want to promote the cooperation among these countries, and for that purpose this initiative was started, in which India is playing a key role. So you need to remember this thing. Next is related to Operation Urja Suraksha. So basically, because of Strait of Hormuz crisis, what was happening, that India was facing energy security related issues. Keeping that in mind, Government of India launched this initiative. Now, apart from that, because of the conflict in Iran, we evacuated our people under the operation, that is Operation Sindhu. So just remember this thing. This was evacuation program. Apart from that, we provided assistance to Sri Lanka under Operation Sagar Bandhu. Apart from that, the Iranian warship, that is IRIS Dena, so that was in news. Why it was in news? Because it was participating in some exercise conducted by India, and when it was going back, it was attacked by USA. So this entire controversy was in news. So you need to remember 2-3 things. A, what was the name of that exercise? So the name of exercise was Milan. So this was conducted in Visakhapatnam. This was a multilateral naval exercise. That's one thing. What was the name of that Iranian warship? So it was Iris Dena. Now, to ensure our energy security, we are working on SPR. What is SPR? Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So basically, we are working on the stories of petroleum so that whenever there is emergency, we have sufficient amount of reserve petroleum. For that purpose, UAE is collaborating with India. So these are important SPR sites. What is SPR? Strategic Petroleum Reserve. The important locations are Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, Mangalore in Karnataka, and Padur in Karnataka. So this is the geographical location of Padur, and this is the geographical location of Mangalore. If we talk about Visakhapatnam, so this is Visakhapatnam, and then there is going to be Chandikol. So this is for first phase, that is Visakhapatnam, Mangalore, and Padur. They are being developed as a part of first phase. Second phase will have 2 more facility, one at Chandikol in Odisha and second in Padur in Karnataka. Next topic is related to the impact of war on the agriculture. Understand, India is heavily dependent on agriculture. We are agrarian economy because roughly 50% population is still dependent on agriculture. For agriculture, fertilizer is quite important. For fertilizer, natural gas is quite important, and India is heavily dependent on import. So whenever there is going to be any conflict, it is going to impact our supply chain. So that's why even though we are not a direct party in this conflict, we are facing the adverse impact of it, be it in terms of petrol prices or be it in terms of fertilizer prices. Next is related to certain conflict areas in news. We have already covered Red Sea and Bab-el-Mandeb. We have covered Houthi rebels and excess of resistance. Apart from that, there was one Qasem Island of Iran. It was in news. We are going to have a look at its geographical location. Then Ust-Luga port in Russia. It was in news because it was attacked. And Scarborough, Shoal, which was in news because of the China's aggression. Okay, now let's have a look at these locations one by one. So first is this Ust-Luga. This is in Russia. Then this is South China Sea. If you can see these red dots, basically this is the area claimed by China, and this is referred as 9-dash line. Now understand its significance. See, there is a concept of EEZ, that is exclusive economic zone. So if your territory is still here, so till 200 nautical miles, you will have your EEZ. But what if somehow you are able to show that your territory is still here? So what you can do, you can extend your EEZ. China is trying to do the same thing by constructing artificial island and by claiming these territories. So that is referred as the 9-dash line. In this, there are various disputed islands. One such island is this Scarborough Shoal. This is one. Then there is Parasol Island. This is second. Then there is Spratly Island. So you need to remember its geographical location. This is Philippines and this is Taiwan. This is Hong Kong. And this is Qasem Island. This is Strait of Hormuz. And this is Fujairah Port. We have already discussed the issue of Strait of Malacca and the Malacca dilemma of Sri Lanka. In this Strait of Malacca, the narrowest point is basically referred as the Phillips Channel. So this is the geographical location of Phillips Channel. This is Strait of Malacca and this is Phillips Channel. This is Singapore Strait. Now these are 4 important choke points. One such choke point is this Strait of Hormuz. We have already covered this. Second is Strait of Malacca. Again we have covered. Third is this Bab-el-Mandeb and Suez Canal area. Fourth is this Panama Canal area. So these are important choke points. Apart from that, this is Strait of Gibraltar. Basically, it connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea. Apart from that, Canary Island was also in news. So this is the geographical location of Canary Island. This is African continent, and this is Canary Island, and it is the territory of Spain. So why it was in news recently? Because INS Sudarsini made its maiden visit to this Canary Island under this Lokayan 26 deployment. What is this Lokayan 26? Basically, it is a trans-oceanic expedition. Trans-oceanic basically means we are going to visit various oceans as a part of this expedition. And the highest peak of this island is Mount Tade, which is the Spain's highest peak. Next is related to the Punat Sangchu project. So this was in news because of the collaboration between India and Bhutan. 2-3 important thing. It is a hydroelectric project. In a very simple sense, we are making electricity from water. Now understand, it is a run-of-river project. That simply means it will not disrupt the flow, and it does not require a huge dam, or we don't require huge amount of reservoir. Okay, we don't have to set up these things for this project. Now this is located on the Punat Sangchu river. The name itself is self-explanatory. This river is formed by two rivers, that is Phochu and Mochu rivers. And this is a tributary of Brahmaputra river. It is also known as Gangadhar river, and it merges with Brahmaputra river. Okay, this Sankosh river, this is also known as Sankosh river. So Sankosh river basically form the boundary between Assam and West Bengal. So let's have a look at the geographical location of this particular river. So this is Sankosh river. This is Brahmaputra river. Now the Sankosh river is also known as Punat Sangchu river, and it is basically supplying water to Brahmaputra river. In Bhutanese language, Chu basically means river. So these were the important current affairs from the IAS section. In the next part, we are going to cover the economy section. Thank you, and